Cheese. All right, and welcome back to That's Some Cheese, part of the Vendetta Sports Podcast Network. Today is Tuesday, November 19th. I'm going to be doing the podcast more frequently. What we're going to be doing here is I'm going to do at least one per week, probably more, but we're going to have a weekly little segment with Don Chach. You know him. He's part of the site, been around for a while. He's just getting back from Penn State. So, Don Chach, what's going on?
Dude, what is going on? I had a hell of a weekend up in Happy Valley. The Nittany Lions were able to pull off a huge win over 24th ranked Indiana. And, you know, the Don was a little tipsy all weekend. It was what could be expected, you know. I'm not going to lie. I have a bit of an alcohol problem, but, you know, it happens.
Don't we all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if somebody says, oh, I want to go tailgate with 110,000 people, you can't expect me to not have a brew or two.
More like 6 or 7, but hey.
It was more like I had a half a case, Trey. I almost got flagged in the stadium.
Well, see, I was counting on the fact that you were going to have like 6 or 7, but also there was shots involved, so.
Well, Trey, to watch that game, I had to be a little inebriated.
Little closer than you probably expected, but
well,
Indiana's not a bad team, though.
I say Indiana's one of the most underrated teams in the Big Ten. I mean, they were ranked 24th. They got one of the best running games in that division of the Big Ten that has Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. And, you know, they came to play. The Nittany Lions are a little banged up right now, and Indiana came to play. They did exactly what they had to do. It's just the better team prevailed.
So let's get to your post here. You did write a post. Penn State's going to the college football playoff. You don't actually believe that, do you?
I believe it with all my heart and soul.
All right, let's hear you explain it.
All right. Well, one, you know, I mean, come on. They're the Nittany Lions, and they're playing Ohio State next week at home or at Ohio State. And these games are always close. When was the last time that an Ohio State-Penn State game didn't come down to a touchdown? 7 points, you know? Like, they're always close. I think what's going to happen next week, KJ's going to be back for the Lions. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a barn burner, Trey. Touchdowns are going to be thrown. Defenses are going to collapse. And I see the Lions coming out on top 42-41. A missed extra point's going to do it.
Wow. See, yeah. I think this Ohio State team is a different animal from years past. That Chase Young guy is ridiculous.
This Ohio State team is something to be marveled. And even if they lose, they should make the playoff. But the thing is, they're definitely beatable. Like, Penn State has played the same teams. Ohio State has not beaten any of these teams by worse margins than Penn State has. Maryland and Rutgers. I think Penn State had a wider margin of victory.
I'm worried about your quarterback, though.
Sean has not looked great. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I won't. That's not what I'm about. The Don does not sugarcoat thing. He tells people how it is, and if he doesn't like you, he's going to tell you what the fuck's up. And what's up right now, Sean? You got the best center in college football snapping to you, my boy Mike Minute, Exeter Township, baby.
Wow.
And yeah, he's winning the best center award.
Temple has a good center too, actually.
Temple does have a good center. That's another PA boy. I think. Actually, I'm just gonna assume because why would anybody who isn't from Pennsylvania go to Temple? Let's be real about that.
Jersey people, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Those South Jersey scumbags. They think they're from Philly, Trey, but they're not from Philly. They're from the shithole, the armpit of the country, New Jersey.
Yep, pretty much.
God.
Anyway.
Now you got me going on another rant.
Your Penn State quarterback here, Clifford. I don't know if he's got a shootout in him.
Dude, he had a nice run. He didn't look great against Indiana, but again, they're without their number one receiver. The Lions are nicked up. So it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to either be a shootout, obviously, or it's going to be a blowout, obviously. I mean, I don't really know. That's not a great take. Let's be real here. where it's a very, like, well, obviously it's either going to be close or it's going to be a goddamn shootout. No shit, Don Chach. Well, yeah, but you know what? I think the kid's got it in him. He's going to have one of the fastest receivers in college football back next week. And
I'll
if
tell
he's
you
not,
what.
I'm probably...
That fucker's good. Like,
KJ?
He's not just like college football good. I think he's going to be NFL good. That guy's unbelievable.
I think he is too. I don't see him going in the first round.
No. He's going to get picked.
I'm thinking he's going to get picked. I think a 4th round pick, and he's only a sophomore right now, so he's got another year in him.
And the thing I like about him, he's not just fast. He gets open, and he runs good routes. Like it's one thing to just
good route.
It's one thing to just get open.
He runs an Antonio Brown before the CTE. Like, honestly, because Antonio Brown is known for being the best route runner in the NFL, right?
That's the thing that jumped off to me when I watched. Like, he's not just fast. He really, like, gets open. Not just because of his speed. He's good at running routes.
And that's the biggest thing,
he's good.
Man. Like, look at some of these big guys that can only run a vertical, like Cortland Sutton. He's doing well. Don't get me wrong.
I actually like him a lot.
Got the Megatron. I like Cortland Sutton too, but the motherfucker can't run a route besides a straight.
Metcalf's doing all right.
Metcalf's doing good too. You got these guys that are freak athletes that they're able to make up for that with their God-given natural ability. But KJ has it all, man, and he's smart.
Let me move on.
Dude is football smart.
Let me move on to topic number 2 that we had. Tua, hip injury. I've wrote about this a couple times now. My initial takeaway is if he's 100% and he gets a full recovery, that's the best thing that ever happened to him. Going to Cincinnati's a death sentence.
I agree. He's slipping. He's going to slip in the
draft. He will, but he shouldn't.
Yeah, oh no. Well, let's look at it this way. Is this the biggest fuck you that Nick Saban has ever done to the Miami Dolphins?
Oh, wow.
Besides going 0-16, now the Dolphins were going to tank for Tua all year. Bye-bye Tua, all thanks to Nick Saban putting him in for one more play, one more series.
I like that.
Yeah, now that's a take. You can take that to the bank. Nick Saban just, boom.
I'm just going to say this. Like, let's think about it this way. If I told you Deshaun Watson tore his ACL in college and then he was going to do it again in the pros, would you still pass on him?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He tore his ACL. Dude, you're talking about a separate injury.
He did it, though.
Wait, did he tear his ACL?
He tore his ACL his freshman year at Clemson, and then he tore
did tear it his freshman year. I forgot.
And then he tore his ACL in his rookie year. You would still take him.
I would still take Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I'd still take Tua. But Tua's injury, see, the thing that they didn't just do like the Bo Jackson. Everyone's saying, oh, Tua's injury is Bo Jackson. It's Bo Jackson. It's Bo Jackson 2.0. Yes and no. It's the same injury, but they got him right to surgery. Bo Jackson played with it for weeks.
Yeah, and apparently it was dislocated and they put it back in place like right on the field.
And that's so that the nerve endings and the blood vessels don't die. You know, that's what happened to Bo Jackson. He needs a hip replacement. And he's old.
I'm not a doctor, but apparently this happened to C.J. Mosley, and he's, pretty damn good.
Oh.
So
what he just signed a $85 million contract as a linebacker?
Yeah. So
that's unreal, dude.
If Tua's going to be a full recovery, there's just no way you can pass on him, and it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Well, the other thing is people are saying, "Oh, well, Tua's a runner; he's going to get injured again." He's really not a running quarterback. That dude sits in the pocket. It's just he has that ability to extend plays, which people are misconstruing as like a run-first quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want people to understand this. Tua has the highest passer rating ever in the history of college football. Ever. You're going to pass on that guy because he got hurt a couple times. And take Joe Burrow, who's a fifth-year senior and couldn't beat out Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State. You're going to pass on Tua the most efficient passer in the history of college football, for Justin Herbert, who couldn't complete 60% of his throws last year. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
It pains me to say it, Trey, because I fucking hate Alabama. And honestly, I think that's why I don't like Tua too much, because he's a great dude. Like, he seems like a really, like, down-to-earth kid. But I fucking hate Alabama. And
that's fine.
I'm still not sold on it, just because, like, I don't know. I think he's a great kid. He's definitely going to be a hell of a star in the pros, but he still has potential to be a bust, as do
I don't agree with that.
Pick.
I think
every pick in the NFL draft has the potential to be a bust.
I think he is as close to as can't miss as it gets.
Who would you compare him to in the NFL right now?
He's left-handed Russell Wilson.
That's not a bad comparison, people. Like, you want to be compared with the guy who is probably going to win MVP this year.
I watch these Elite 11 camps. I don't know if you know what they are, but
I do. Yeah, it's top high school quarterbacks in the country.
They have these camps and they go around and they compete against each other, and so you've seen it before.
Yeah, it's the top quarterbacks in the country. Your top 11 high school quarterbacks in the country.
Tua had the single highest score in the history of the camp ever. All of the people that have worked him out have said he's the single greatest quarterback prospect they've ever seen while he was in that camp. He's done nothing but dominate everywhere he's been.
And those were the same people saying the same thing about Deshaun Watson 3-4 years prior.
Those were the same people that said, no. We've seen him in these camps. You do not want to pass on him. I'm telling you this right now. You can say to yourself, okay, he's hurt. You know what? I don't care. Everybody gets hurt.
See, but it's not just the hip. He just had ankle surgery, too.
Yeah, but apparently they fixed those. He has the black magic shit with the ankles now. They're fine.
Dude, he was limping pretty bad the last game.
Yeah, because he just had surgery. I'm saying, like...
See, this is what I think Nick Saban was a fucking moron to honestly play him.
Probably.
You go to, like, it's Alabama, dude. You know they have a solid backup quarterback. You gotta let that kid play.
You know what's funnier? They have Tua's brother.
Yeah, they do. I was just gonna mention that.
Taulia. Put him in the game.
Yeah. Well, is he I think he's redshirting.
He's a true freshman. But redshirting now.
So they didn't... Oh. Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Like, you got to put some of this blame on Nick Saban, and this is why the Miami Dolphins should be kicking Nick Saban in the balls the next time their officials see him.
It's because they turned Drew Brees down. That's why.
Yeah. Well, dude, like, think about it. Like, you go to Alabama. Your quarterbacks are going to be solid. That kid won a couple games while Tua was out, too. So why not let him go until the playoff or until... Maybe, there's a bad half, then you throw Tua back in to lead you to a comeback at half. I think Nick Saban is a retard. Honestly, like, that was the dumbest move.
It's fair.
I mean, he's not a yeah, I mean, it's just, it's just bullshit.
All right, let's get to our last topic here. We'll keep this short for the first one. We'll do these weekly, like we said. You wrote a post about Lamar Jackson. Now,
I'm hopping on the bandwagon, Trey. I don't know if you can't see it right now because I'm in my car, but I just did a little hop. Hop on the Lamar bandwagon.
All right, let me say this. Right now, he looks great. But how long is it going to last?
Really good.
It looks great. Like, great is the understatement. But let me say this. He has the same offensive coordinator as Colin Kaepernick. He's basically running that same offense. He's running these zone reads. He's running the ball like crazy. How long can he do it for? Because Cam Newton's a guy. Cam Newton, he would have a year or two where he's unstoppable. And then he'd have these years
2 good years,
where he gets popped one time and then he's just never the same for the entire year. How long is it going to last? And he's never been the most accurate guy in the world.
I mean, he's pretty fucking accurate right now.
Right now he is, yes. But in college, he never was.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know, man. I think that Lamar he's putting up stats that are just unbelievable right now. And he's a humble kid. Like,
he is.
The thing that I love about him is mainly his personality. You know, I was thinking, all right, Lamar Jackson, he plays cocky. You know what I mean? And I wasn't a fan of that swagger that he had on the field. But right now, that kid should have all the swagger in the world. Like, he's keeping his head down. He's saying, when he had that spin move against Cincinnati, granted, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. They suck.
Historically, the worst defense ever they're on pace to be.
Yes. But when he had that spin move where he broke 3 people's ankles in one move, they asked him, where does that rank on your all-time plays list, your personal all-time list? And he's like, I don't really care. We scored, and that's all that matters. That's a hell of an answer, man. I think he's got a better head on his shoulders than Colin Kaepernick, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't want to get started on Kaepernick because of obvious reasons. Post coming soon, people.
Yeah. We'll leave it for a post.
Also, yeah. But also, the thing about Lamar is he's better than Kaepernick ever was. You're comparing him to, because he has the same offensive coordinator a little bit, and it's like, it's two different animals. It's like if you have Saquon Barkley versus, like, I don't know, Miles Sanders. I'm taking Saquon every day.
Yes and no. I think people forget Kaepernick he would have like this run to the Super Bowl. He had a couple like 3 or 4 game stretch where he was just great, but it didn't last very long.
He never played a full season, I don't think. Did he?
It
was like a Nick Foles situation. He went in when Alex Smith got hurt. He led them to the Super Bowl. The next year, he got hurt a little bit, nicked up. Then he got benched the next year. But you're right. Like, Kaepernick was... I remember one game, it was after their Super Bowl run. I think it was 2014.
He beat Green Bay real bad one year.
He beat the Eagles real bad one year, too. That's what I was getting at. He kicked the shit out of the Eagles one year.
My point is, like, RG3 went on this, like, 16-game stretch where he was just crazy.
They didn't let RG3 throw the ball downfield, dude. They're letting Lamar gun it.
I get it. Cam Newton. Cam Newton would go on these 16-game stretches where he just looked unbelievable. I just don't know how sustainable it is. I will say this about Lamar Jackson. It looks like he has a great work ethic. Because if you've noticed, his rookie year and this year, his body is completely different. He looks like he gained 25 pounds of muscle.
If you look back in a Keep It To Yourself podcast, that was my biggest thing about Lamar Jackson.
He looked like a twig.
Talking about it. He was 180 pounds,
dude.
And I said, if he plays at that weight in the NFL, he's going to get hurt. It's going to be RG3. And now
he looks big.
I was not a Lamar Jackson fan. I said it from the beginning before he got drafted. I don't trust him. I think it's going to be an RG3 situation where he's too skinny and he's going to get hurt. But now he's put on at least 25 pounds. I bet you he's playing at 210 right now, 220.
He looks big.
Dude, he looks big. And the kid is humble. He seems like he has a good work ethic. I think that the biggest thing that is going to affect him is the fame. Because look at those other guys we mentioned. Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick. Cam Newton is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Why does everything he does, he's like Russell Westbrook. It's a fashion show for them. Go to the goddamn game in a suit. That's all you got to do. Stop dressing like grandmom. Did you see that fucking shit when he had the bonnet over his head? What a loser.
Here's the problem.
What a loser.
With all these primary running quarterbacks, when they get paid, they don't want to get hit like this anymore.
Yeah, but that's what they're getting paid for. You're right, yeah.
They get paid for what they did, and they don't want to get hit like that once they get their money. So I don't know how long it lasts. He looks great right now. And let me also say this.
He does.
He's not doing this in Cincinnati. The best thing that ever happened to that guy was getting picked by Baltimore. That's the best thing that ever happened. He doesn't do this in Miami. He's not anywhere close to this in, I don't know, Detroit.
He has a much better supporting cast right now, dude. Look at the offensive lines compared to those teams you just mentioned. This is where Tua, bring it back to Tua, this is where Tua is going to be so thankful that he just had major hip surgery. Because he's going to the bottom half of the first round.
Which is great. Imagine him in Minnesota, and his running back's Dalvin Cook. And his two receivers.
His receivers are Thielen and Stephon Diggs.
Bam.
That's a team right there. That's a Super Bowl contending team after 2 years.
But that's the shit that's going to happen. The best thing that ever happened to Lamar Jackson, he doesn't do this in 80% of the teams he gets picked by. Baltimore had a plan. They said, listen, we're going to draft 3 tight ends. They can all run, catch, and block. We're going to give them Marquise Brown, who can stretch the field. We're going to give them offensive linemen, Orlando Brown, Ronnie Stanley, Marshall Yanda.
We're going to let him sit a year under a Super Bowl winning
We're going to let him sit and learn a little bit. We're going to put him in the weight room. We're going to give him Mark Ingram.
And they get Mark Ingram. That's the biggest thing that they ever did, because since Ray Rice got blackballed from the NFL for beating the shit out of his wife, they haven't had a running back.
Yeah.
And that's the God-honest truth.
But the point is, he doesn't do this almost anywhere else. Baltimore has been almost perfect with the plan they've put in place. They've almost been perfect with it. They haven't been, Hayden Hurst was kind of a bust pick, but their plan has been perfect.
What's it going to take for you to get on the wagon with your boy Don Chach?
He starts lighting up playoff games. I'll join you, because last year in the playoffs he was so bad. He went like 7 straight drives without a completion.
Yep, he was a rookie.
So I understand that. He's just proved to me over a 16, 20 game stretch that you can be a very good passer. Not just 3 or 4 games where you're lighting up Cincinnati a couple times. That Houston defense isn't good either without J.J. Watt.
How about the Patriots defense?
He did most of his damage in the first quarter, though. He didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, but he did what he had to do.
He beats a couple teams in the playoffs. I'll hand up. I was wrong. Until he beats a couple teams in the playoffs, I can't join you right now.
And that's fine. That's a respectable. You got your time. That's fine. I got a question for you. Josh Rosen. Do you feel that if he would have had like a Tua or a Lamar Jackson slide, that he would be better? Because I feel for that dude. I think Josh Rosen is a legitimate NFL quarterback. And this kid got on the worst team last year, and now he's on the worst team this year, and that fucking blows for him.
That's what I'm saying. These people that want to say, oh, well, maybe he should go back to school to try to raise his draft stock. These quarterbacks don't make their money on their first contract anymore anyway. They all make their money on their second contracts. So
since they put the rookie cap down,
So he's gonna lose some money if he slides, but the second contract's the one you want to get to anyway. Rosen's completely fucked.
Yeah.
And
that sounds like an article too.
Yes, it does. By the way, Rosen would have been the first pick in the draft after his true freshman year. Like, he was that good.
I still think he is that good. Look at it. You can take somebody who was a legitimate, early starter, high school star phenom, and be all right in college. Look at Kyle Allen, man. He was the number 1 recruit out of high school. He got fucked over at A&M, and now I think he's the future of the Panthers.
It might be.
I think the kid's legit.
I'm just saying, Cincinnati, it's a death sentence. Miami, it's a death sentence. I will say Kyler Murray looks really good, though. He's going to end up making it.
I like how Murray isn't running the ball as much, but I'm still not on his bandwagon. I don't think he's. I don't know. I'm not on the Kyler Murray bandwagon at all. He hasn't proved it to me. But
I think the way he's played against San Francisco in that defensive front, I'm very optimistic for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's picking it up, man. For a kid who was a baseball phenom and was going to go play for the Athletics the next year, but
I think that helps them. I think the two-sport thing helps them.
Absolutely.
All right, Don. You got anything else for us?
Oh, man, that was a good first episode. Come back next week, people. We'll have more hot takes.
All right, we'll do this each week. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Tell you something. You know what really grinds my gears? You, America. Fuck you, Diane.